This presentation will be over the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Now, some of you may be wondering, what is the Convention on the Rights of the Child? It is a human rights treaty that establishes a set of special protections and guarantees assistance to people under 18 years of age. It was proposed by the United Nations on the 20th of November in 1989, and it passed unanimously with a vote of all 44 members present at the time. It stands as the most widely ratified human rights treaty in history, with 193 countries around the world. Now, what all is covered in the CRC? The CRC is broken into three different parts. The first, which is the largest, has 41 different articles and addresses a wide range of topics, including child labor laws, education, healthcare, military service, adoption, and special needs accommodations. This section establishes all of the protections and rights guaranteed to all children. The second section establishes the Committee of the Rights of the Child, which I will talk about in a little bit. The third section is all about the process of ratification and amending the CRC. In total, the CRC is a very large document made up of 54 separate articles. Now you may be wondering, who exactly created all of the articles in the CRC? The articles of the CRC were debated and created over a 10-year period, from 1979 to 1989. A large variety of experts were consulted, including social workers, health specialists, educators, lawyers, and religious leaders from all over the world. Now, as you all may know, it can be very difficult to enforce a human rights treaty that's widespread across the world. So, this is where the Committee for the Rights of the Child comes in. Part 2 of the CRC established an International Oversight Committee that is responsible for monitoring all countries that have ratified the treaty. They oversee the reports sent in by all participating countries and offer technical advice and some resources to help them out. All countries are obligated to work towards the articles set in the treaty, but it can be very slow going, as it's hard to ensure that it is followed by all 193 countries at once. In addition to delays caused by poverty or cultural things, when a country ratifies a treaty, they can state reservations, or basically pick which rules they want to follow. For example, both Afghanistan and Somalia stated upon ratification of the treaty they will not follow any of the articles that conflict with Islamic law. Somalia even went to go on and list specific articles that it will not follow, which include articles about freedom of religion and adoption policies to foreign nations. Religious views as well as cultural norms and poverty have made implementation very tricky in some areas of the world. Here is a map of all the countries in the United Nations. The green countries have ratified the CRC, and the purple countries have not. Do you notice anything? Despite the fact that the U.S. played a very large role in writing the treaty and developing the methods in the treaty, the U.S. is the only country in the UN to have not ratified the CRC. The most recent two countries to ratify the CRC were Somalia, which has been suffering from political instability for many years, and South Sudan, which is the world's newest country. Now, why hasn't the U.S. ratified the treaty? The U.S., as you all might know, must have all treaties approved by the Senate before they can be ratified, and it can take a very long time for the Senate to agree on anything. We did sign the convention in 1995, but the treaty has not been brought up in the Senate in the 20 years since. There are two big reasons for this. First, the United States tries to ensure that all federal laws meet the standards of a treaty before ratification, as opposed to many other nations that gradually convert their laws to fit a new treaty over time. This is because the U.S. does not consider the wording of a treaty equivalent to federal law, and we want to ensure that we follow all the regulations of a treaty as soon as we agree to it. The second reason that the U.S. hasn't ratified a treaty is that the U.S. typically only reviews one human rights treaty at a time, and the Senate is currently reviewing the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. In time, the U.S. will undoubtedly sign the treaty, but despite the efforts of several key political figures, including President Obama, it does not look like we'll be voting on it anytime soon.